On today's tutorial, you'll be learning how to cut and sew this style displaying on the screen. I saw the picture on the Pinterest, so I decided to make it for myself. This is the outcome of what I recreated. If you are new to my channel, you're welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, thanks for all your support. Please make sure you watch till the end and don't skip any part so that you won't miss any important information. At the end of this video, if you found my tutorial helpful, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll be drafting on this pattern paper for the purpose of clarity. I've gone ahead to mark out my lines. I will attach my measurement on the screen so that you understand what I'm doing. Half of my shoulder width is 8 inches. From my shoulder to my chest line is 9 inches. Shoulder to bust point is 10 inches. Under bust is 14. Waistline is 17.5. Hip line is 26. Knee line is 35. And the full length of the gown is 39 inches. I will mark 3 inches for my neck width. And for the neck depth, I use 3.5 inches. If you're of a smaller size, please use 3 by width and 3 by length. I don't want my neckline to be too high. That's why I mark 3.5 inches for the neck depth. I will curve my neckline. After that, I will come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant. This is for the front part. So I will slant it to the neck width. After that, the next thing I'll be doing now is to mark my nipple to nipple point measurement. Mine is 4 inches plus ½ inch. I added ½ inch because I don't want to add any sewing allowance when I'm transferring it to my fabric. So I'll add all my sewing allowance on this pattern. So I will mark a straight line to connect it. I'll be tightening my under bust by 0.75 on this center front, and on the side front I will mark 1.5 inches. Making it 2.5 inches in total. If you measure it, I have 2.5 inches. Please note that if you're from bust 38 to 42, you can use what I used to tighten your under bust. To eliminate the pointiness on the bust point, I came down by ½ inch from the bust point line and I will connect it the way you see me doing. If you're from bust 34 to bust 37, you can use 2 inches to tighten your underbust. That is ½ inch on the center front and 1.5 inch on the side front. So I will rule my dark leg straight down to the hem the way you see me doing. From the shoulder line, I will come down by 7.5 inches to mark the length of my yoke. If you are of a smaller size, you can use 6 inches for the length of your yoke. On that point, I will still mark my nipple to nipple point measurement, which is 4.5 inches, and I will connect it the way you see me doing. So I'll be tightening the over bust by 1 inch on the bust side. If you have a small breast, you can use ½ inch on the bust side. So I will curve it the way you see me doing. After curving it, the next thing I'll do now is to make a straight line so that you understand what I'm doing. This is where my yoke will stop. The next thing is to mark my round bust measurement. I'll divide my bust by 4 and I'll place the measurement on my chest line. If I divide my bust by 4, I have 10 inches. I will mark it. I will measure the dart intake. I have 1. I will replace it and I will add 2 inches for my sewing allowance. I will mark it here. I will divide my chest line by 2. I want to curve my armhole, so I'll mark the midpoint here. I'll come in by 0.75. So I will slant it like this and I will curve my armhole the way you see me doing. After that, I will measure what I have on my over bust. I took the dart of 1 inch here, so I will mark 1 inch on the armhole line and I will reconnect it the way you see me doing. If you took ½ inch on the dart line, you will place the ½ inch on your armhole. After that, I will divide my round under bust by 4. I will replace what I have here, which is 2.5 inches, and I will mark 2 inches for my sewing allowance. I will still do the same thing on my waistline. I will connect it. I will divide my round hip by 4. I will add my sewing allowances. On my knee line, I will place the same measurement I placed on my waistline. or you can minus 6 inches from your actual hip measurement and divide it by 4, and you mark the measurement on your knee line. After that, I will roll it straight to the hemline the way you see me doing. The next thing now is to mark the shape of my yoke. So you pay very close attention on this part so that you understand what I'm doing. What I will do is I will measure the shape of my cup. So from the bust point, I will come out by 4.5 inches. On the under bust, I will mark 2 inches. From the length of my yoke, I will make a dotted line now to connect it to the 4.5 inches on the bust point and 2 inches on the under bust. Can you see? So I will now highlight it. After that, I will measure the space I have here and the armhole area for you to see. I have 2 inches, but I want to increase it to 2.5 inches. So I will adjust the line by highlighting it more. Just follow what I'm doing, you get it right. So from the under bust, I will roll it straight to the waistline where I want the yoke to stop. I will keep adjusting the line until I get 4 inches. That's what I want for the cup. From the cup to the side, I have 3 inches if I measure it. I will confirm what I have now on my cup. I have 4 inches as you can see. So this is the end of the cutting part for the front. I'll go ahead now and cut it. I want to use this medium to beg you people to watch the advertisement that is displaying on my videos. That's where we make money. If you don't watch the advertisement, I won't be able to make any money. So you can support my channel by watching the advertisement that is displaying on my video so that I'll be able to do more tutorials. You can as well subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed, and like my video. Thank you very much. So this is what I have when I was done cutting it. Can you see? The next thing is to grab the back part. I've gone ahead to mark out my lines. This is my zipper allowance. I will write it to indicate. I've marked my shoulder width line, my nipple to nipple point line, my chest line, my waist line, my hip line, and the full length of the gown. I will mark 3 inches for the back neck width and 1 inch for the back neck depth. If you're a smaller size, use ½ inch for your back neck depth. So I will mark ½ inch for the shoulder slant. I mark 1 inch for the front part. So I will connect it to the neck width. After that, I will divide my round bust by 4. I will add 2 inches for sewing allowance. I will mark quarter of my round waist, add 2 inches for sewing allowance and 1 inch for that intake. On the hip line, I will divide my hip by 4, add 2 inches for sewing allowance. On the knee line, I will divide my round waist by 4. I will also add 2 inches for sewing allowance and roll it straight down. After that, I will connect all my lines the way you see me doing. After connecting my lines, I will divide my chest line by 2. I will come in by ½ inch. On the front part, I came in by 0.75, and I will draw my armhole the way you see me doing. After drawing my armhole, I will take my waist dart. I'll be marking 1 inch on the both dart leg for my waist dart intake. If you're a smaller size, you can mark 0.75 or ½ inch. So I will come down by 1 inch from my bust point line. From the waistline, I came down by 6 inches, and I will connect the lines the way you see me doing. The next thing is to remove the back zipper bulge. If you don't do this, your zip will not relax very well if you attach your zipper. So I will come in by 0.75 on the waistline, and I will connect it to the chest line and to the hip line the way you see me doing. After that, I also come down by 7.5 for the length of my yoke. I will make a straight line to indicate it. After that, I'll bring my front yoke. I want to measure what I have here. I will place it from my nipple to nipple point line the way you see me doing. From there now, I will curve it to the waistline the way you see me doing. You can measure 2 inches from your that leg, on the waistline, to connect it. After that, I will go ahead and label my back yoke. After labeling it, you can go ahead now and cut it out. This is what I have when I was done cutting it. I will go ahead now and transfer all my pattern to the fabric. So this is the fabric that I'll be using. I will make use of 4 yards for the lower part, and for the yoke part I use only 1 yard. So I've spread my fabric out. I will fold it into 2 the way you see me doing. So after folding it, I will bring in my center front pattern. I will place it this way, directly on the folded edge, the way you see me doing, and on the length of the gown I will mark how flare I want the center front to be. So for me, I mark 8 inches, both sewing allowance included. Please make sure you pin your pattern paper on the fabric so that it won't be moving around. So on the up parts, I will mark ½ inch. The ½ inch is what I will use to join the yoke part. So after marking it, I will connect the 8 inches I mark on the down part to my waistline. Connect it with a straight ruler. Can you see? From your waistline, just slant it down to the hem, the way you see me doing. So after that, I'll go ahead and cut it out. If you find my tutorial interesting, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Can you see how I'm cutting it? This is my waistline. I will just trim everything out. As you can see, I did not add sewing allowance on the posterior area. I added it on the pattern. You can also add sewing allowance if you want. That is totally up to you. This is my center front. So I will fold another fabric now so that I can cut the side front. So I place it, you place it on the middle of your folded fabric. So I will add ½ inch on this part that I'll be using to join the yoke. That's the only sewing allowance I'll be adding. So if I get to the waistline, I'll also add ½ inch this way. I won't be adding any allowance on this posterior side. On the down part, I will mark how flare I want my side front to be. If you can remember, I marked 8 inches for the center front, so I'll be sharing the 8 inches on the both side of the side front. I will mark 4 inches plus ½ inch for sewing allowance, but I later increase it to 5 inches on the both side. So I mark 5 inches on the both side. From the waistline now, I will connect it straight to the hem. Please use your ruler when you are marking your straight line so that you get the line correctly. For this side, I will come out by 1 inch from the waistline and I will pull it straight down to the 5 inches I mark on the hem. After that, I'll go ahead and cut it out. This is what you have when you are done cutting it out. Can you see the shape? The next thing is to cut the center back. So I'll cut it off camera and come back and show you. So I've gone ahead to cut it out. This is what I have. So I added ½ inch on the zipper allowance side. You can decide not to add flare on the center back, but for me I added. So I also mark 5 inches on the both side of the pattern. I'll measure it now for you to see. I mark 5 inches on this side and 5 inches on this side. I also did the same thing on the side back. This is my side back. I mark ½ inch this side that I'll be using to join my yoke, and on the down part I also mark 5 inches on the both side of the back pattern. Can you see what I'm doing? Please note that the width of your flare depends on what you want. You can use more than 5 inches if you want your flare to be fuller than mine. So I use what I want. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to curve the hem of the flare. So I will come up by 1.5 inches on the both side of the flare, and I will slant it to the center front the way you see me doing. After that, I'll go ahead and cut it out. I will do this for all the cut out pieces, both for the front and back. If you have any question, please do not forget to drop your question on the comment box. I'll reply you. So this is my center front. I will also do the same thing on the center front. I will come up by 1.5 inches. I did the same thing on the center back. After cutting it, I will place it on my liner and cut exactly what I cut on my main fabric. I've gone ahead to cut out my yoke both for the front and back. I added my ½ inch sewing allowance for the center back, the same thing I did when I was cutting the lower part, and the 1/2 inch this side that I'll be using to join the lower part. This is my front. You cut your front part on fold, can you see, and add your 1/2 inch sewing allowance. The same way I cut my yoke, I also cut my lining that I'll be using to turn the neckline. I'm also gonna head to cut out my padding. I use a medium weight foam for my padding. If you don't know how to pad a bustier, I have several tutorials on how to do that. It's just the same approach. I reduced my padding by 1/2 inch because of the yoke that I'll be joining. As you can see, I iron tissue gum stay on the main fabric. I stop on the 1/2 length. I do the same thing on my lining too. You iron your stay or tissue gum stay on your main fabric. Can you see it? So the next thing I'll do now is to go to my sewing machine and join my bustier. You place it together this way and you sew with 1/2 inch. So I'll go off camera now and join it and come back and show you. I'll also sew my lining the same way I sew my main fabric. Okay, I'm done sewing it. Can you see it's coming out already? I've open press and iron very well. Use your tailor's hand and iron it properly. This is my back. I open press my back part and iron very well. I also sew my lining the same way I sew my main fabric, both for the front and back. I've ironed it properly. Can you see my lining for the front? This is for the back. So this is my yoke. I iron my stay on the yoke, and on the lining I iron tissue gum stay, that's soft gum stay, both for the front and back. Can you see my lining? This is what I have for my lining. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to join it. I'll fold my main fabric this way to determine the middle point. I will notch it. I will also fold my front yoke into two. I will notch the midpoint and I will match the notch part together for the yoke and for the main fabric the way you see me doing. I will use my pin to secure it. You just pin it the way you see me doing. Please do not forget to like and share my video. All right, so when I get to the waistline, I will flip it to the wrong side now so that you see what I'm doing very clearly. Can you see? So I will match it this way to sew the side. Very easy. It's not hard. Make sure you try it out. You find that it's very easy. So I will use my pin now to secure it. Make sure you pin before you sew, very important. If you have any excess, you just trim it up, or you pin it down before trimming off the excess that you have. I will also do the same thing on the other side. After doing that, I will repeat the same thing on my lining. The same way I pin the yoke on my main fabric, the same thing I will do on my lining. After that, I'll go and sew it. If you get to this corner, you just notch it. Give it a little notch so that it will lay flat when you finish sewing it. This is what I have when I was done pinning it. Can you see the neat finishing there? Can you see? So I will go ahead now and pin my back part too for you to see. Just match it together and pin before you sew. I know why I'm emphasizing on pinning. Some people will just sew it like that. Please don't do that if you want your work to be very neat. Can you see what I have? So I will turn it this way so that I can pin the side. I'll also make my notch on this corner. Just make a 1/2 inch notch. After that, I will continue my pinning. Okay, I have a little excess here. I will trim it off, but I will advise you pin it first before trimming off your excess so that you know the amount of excess fabric that you have. All right, after pinning it down, I will go to my sewing machine and sew it. I will also do the same thing on my back lining. So after pinning everything down, I will go to my sewing machine and sew it. This is what I have when I was done sewing it. Can you see? I will remove all my pins. If you did not notch it when you were sewing it, you can notch it on this corner for the both sides, both on your lining, and you open press and iron. If you don't want to iron it, you just push your bustier down and top stitch round on it. just stop stitch with a tiny stitch, but that is not necessary because of the ribbon that we are attaching on it. So I have these velvet trimmings that I bought. You can use it if you don't have the fancy one. For me, I got the fancy one. I'll be using it to design the yoke. If you are not using bow tie on your side, you use your velvet ribbon to cover this side. After placing it, you pin it down and sew. If you get to your waistline, you stop, you cut it off. After cutting it off, you now fold it a little, fold it this way and place it on top of this one and sew. I'll be using bow tie to cover the side, so I will not place on the side. What I will do now is to pin it down. You pin it down before you sew. After pinning it down, I will make a double stitch on this side. Just make a double stitch on that side. When you are sewing, you push your bustier down before you sew. So this is what I have when I was done sewing it. Can you see? This is my lining. I'll be using my lining to turn the both side. I will sew with 1/2 inch on the both side. I will not be turning the down part. I folded the down part both for the lining and the main fabric. So I place it right side to right side. I'll go and sew my neckline and I will sew the two sides. I'll come back and show you the next thing you will do. I've sewn it already and I turn it to the right side. This is what I have. This is my wrong side. Can you see the neat finishing? For the down part, I reduced my lining by 1 inch and I folded it separately. So this is my back part. I've gone ahead to turn it and I've attached my zipper. Can you see? So the next thing I'll be doing now is to place the back and front together, right side facing the right side. I will sew the shoulder and I will shape my side. You confirm your measurement and shape your gown. This is what I have when I was done shaping this. I have turned it to the right side. Can you see? So the next thing I'll do now is to attach the bow tie. I will measure what I have on the side. I will measure from here to this side. I have 12 inches. So I'll use it to cut my bow tie. I use this satin to cut my bow tie. I've ironed my hairstay on both the one I will be using to turn it. Can you see? I cut out 2 for the both side. I have 12 here, 12 by 12, 12 by width and 12 by length. I've also cut out belt that I'll be using to wrap it. I have the width of 2.5 inches and the length of 15 inches. I also cut out 2 for the both tie. So I'll sew each round now and I'll open it up at the middle and turn it to the right side. I'll do it off camera and come back and show you. So this is what I have when I was done. I will make a tiny pleat to gather it. After gathering it, I'll use this belt to wrap it. Just watch how I'm wrapping it. You cross it this way. After crossing it, you pin it down. I'll go to my sewing machine and sew it down to secure it. Just sew it like this. So this is what I have when I was done sewing it. I will now go and attach it to my dress. Place it this way. Can you see what I have? So to attach it, you can use your hand needle to sew it down. For me, I use my glue gun to attach it first. After then, and I use my hand needle to sew it. Thanks for watching.